That's a fantastic first question. Now, I think to really answer it, I'd have to go into kind of like the history of my own personal mental development. And what happened here was basically that, like, have you ever gotten that feeling where you just think about life and, like, why it exists and everything, and you just kind of get lost? That happened to me a lot, especially when I was younger. And I really didn't have a good answer for it. And then it just kind of came to me one day that the only thing I'm really sure about is other people being happy. It seems to me that I don't really know what makes me happy. I don't know what happiness is. But I can definitely see it in others. So the purpose of life, to me at least, is to try and make that happiness come about in others. And so the question of utilitarianism then just kind of dissolves into nothingness if you think about life that way. Of course you should make as many people as happy as possible. What other possible thing would you do? This actually starts, I think, when I was in kindergarten. We used to have these fantastic pencils that were very big and very colorful. And we had like 6 different tables or so. And every couple of weeks we'd switch tables, switch who we were sitting with, switch groups. And my favorite color was always just whatever pencil table I was at. And it just so happened that the last color was green, and so for the rest of my life, green has been my favorite color. And that's that. You know, I think for this one, this is always a hard one, because I'm never really sure what the person wants you to pick. And I feel like a lot of times they want you to pick something. Just recently I heard a fantastic one, which was the ability to stop time. I think that's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that one. But the answer I've usually given is invisibility. I think it'd be cool. I don't really know what I'd use it for, and someone once pointed out, rightfully, that, Spence, that's really kind of creepy. Well, I suppose it is, yeah. But that's what I'd go with. No. Not whatsoever. This... Well, this kind of ties into my problem, that I sometimes feel like it's really hard to try and explain why I think things without coming off as a dick. So, you wanna know what? I'm just gonna explain this as though I'm a dick. I think the reason that a lot of people think things like that is that they really have trouble accepting the idea that the world as we see it is the world as we see it. There isn't anything else. There is no supreme being, there is no afterlife, there is no heaven, there is no hell. The only thing that exists is the universe as it is. And the idea that things happen for a reason is basically just a response to the truth, which is that things don't happen for a reason. Things happen because people exist. People are free actors in a system that doesn't put any real controls on them. And it's really hard to accept that idea, because it means that the only thing there is the brief amount of time you're given in this world. There is nothing else to live for. And the idea that things happen for a reason is trying to reconcile the fact that you only have such a small amount of time with the fact that bad things happen. Truly terrible things happen to people, to good people. It is that the old saying that bad things happen to good people, it is really true, and it doesn't seem like that it should be. It should be that, and yet it is, and so I think many people do think that things happen for a reason, but I personally can't. I think that it has to do with I don't want to call it some vague thing like I'm really not sure. That's a very, very interesting idea. I mean, I can tell you how I think of my best friends. I think of them as people who I could easily just sit alone in a room with, not saying anything for hours and be perfectly content. But I don't have the foggiest clue why that's the case. I just know that it is. I think it's an Australian cattle dog, but I really don't know. It's kind of a mutt. It's white and tan and really not very smart, which, I don't know. I would really like a smart dog. It'd be fantastic. I come home after being away for months, and my dog doesn't even look at me. He just kind of wags his tail and is like, sniffs me for like a second and then walks away. I'm like, oh, thanks. I love feeling loved. You jerk. So. Ham, American lettuce, spicy brown mustard on a wrap. Grilled a little tiny bit. And then eaten. Every single bite of it is delicious. I'm not entirely sure I want to answer that question on video, but I will say, when I get rather exceptionally drunk, and I hear music, I dance. And I get a lot of compliments on my dancing when I'm too drunk to care. Actually, really rather an extraordinary number of compliments, which I find hilarious because when I'm sober, I'm absolutely awful at dancing. So I guess that is a hidden talent of sorts, though it's kind of hidden behind, well, I don't know, a number of drinks, I suppose. I eat cereal in a cup. I actually eat Lucky Charms in a cup. That's the only way I eat them. And I only eat Lucky Charms because I like the marshmallows. I'm a loser, and I'm not a huge fan of cereal. Bacon, egg, and cheese, on the other hand. The bagel, an everything bagel. I just found out we had those recently before I left school, and then the place that served them closed, and breakfast was just not the same afterwards. I really am a fan of the hug. It's... well... I have a long story that would kind of be necessary to fully explain that. I'm not really sure I want to get into it. But I will say that I've had a number of fantastic hugs in the last couple of days. And it's always difficult to say goodbye, without a doubt. There's some people I may never see again. But being close with someone gives you a little something to remember of them. So, that's what I have to say.
Carry on.
Is it rolling?